What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we have our official preview for the Week 18 matchup where the Minnesota Vikings are traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions in the biggest NFL regular season game possibly ever. But before we dive into it, it is New Year's Eve here, and I want to give some thanks to a couple of the other teams in the NFL. First off, we're going to start off with the Houston Texans. They let Jonathan Grenard and Blake Cashman go. Shout out to you guys. Also, big shout out, Dallas Cowboys. Let Stephon Gilmore go. Appreciate that one. How about our division rival, the Green Bay Packers? You let Aaron Jones go. Appreciate that. And then also, all teams who did not draft Ivan Pace a couple of years ago, we appreciate that as well. The Raiders, Jerry Tillery. The Eagles, thank you for drafting Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. And the Detroit Lions, thank you so much for trading us TJ Hawkinson. And then the Dolphins, thank you so much for giving us Andrew Van Ginkel. And then finally, the most important, shout out to the Jets, the 49ers, and the Panthers for letting us get Sam Darnold. So appreciate all of you NFL franchises. But before we dive into it, if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Lions in Week 18 and land that number 1 seed, just give me a couple of skulls down below in the comment section. I want it to look like U.S. Bank Stadium on game day. But coming up on today's preview, first off, we're going to start off with some injury news around the Minnesota Vikings. And we're going to be deep diving into the Detroit Lions, talk about their injuries. Then I got my 5 keys to victory, and then also my score prediction at the tail half of today's show. But let's get into the injury news here. So Ian Rappaport had this yesterday, saying good injury news for the Vikings per head coach Kevin O'Connell. Edge rusher Patrick Jones II has a chance to play against the Detroit Lions, which is great news because after that Tucker Kraft cut block, I thought possibly Patrick Jones would have been out for the rest of the season, so it's good to know he is all right. Then Aaron Jones, he did not play in the fourth quarter versus the Green Bay Packers, but apparently he is doing well after a quad contusion, and he should play on Sunday, and that's huge because Aaron Jones, all of these guys like Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and even like Josh Jacobs, they get all this love for being, that new running back on their team. But I think Aaron Jones has gone underrated on what he has done for this Vikings team this year. I mean, the stats don't lie. Over 1,000 yards on the ground, over 350 yards throughout the air. He has been definitely a huge focal point of this offense and a big reason why the Vikings are a top 10 scoring offense in the whole National Football League. But if they don't have Aaron Jones, Cam Akers has filled in phenomenally for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he had that game-sealing catch where he is on his behind, falling back. He was able to catch that football. It was a great play by Cam Akers, and Kevin O'Connell was showing him all types of love in the locker room, which was great to see. But if Aaron Jones, for some reason, if he's a little banged up, I got more than enough faith in Cam Akers getting it done. But Patrick Jones, he came out this season playing some of his best football in his career. I think he had like 5 sacks in the first 3 games. Has definitely tailed off at the second half of this season, but still 24 pressures, 7 sacks, 19 tackles on the year for necessarily your 3rd, 4th rotational edge rusher. I mean, that is great production for him considering he's only played 459 snaps. But let's just dive into the Detroit Lions here. I got a lot of respect for this team. I think they have the best single unit in the NFL offensively. Like, if you had the power rank, like every team's defense, every team's offense, I think the Lions' offense would be number 1. And listen, numbers don't lie. I mean, they're top 6 in every major statistical category. They're the 2nd best offense in terms of yards per game, 2nd best in pass yards, 6th best in rush yards. They're the number 1 scoring offense, averaging 33.3 points per game, and they're also on elite on 3rd down, converting almost 50% of those. But I think it starts with their guys up front. I think this is by far the best offensive line in the National Football League, and they got dogs at every single position. Taylor Decker, dog. Graham Glasgow, dog. Frank Ragnow, dog. Kevin Zeitler, dog. And obviously you got Penei Sewell. I think he's the best offensive lineman in the entire league. He's a dog as well. And, it gets me to this. Everybody's talking about these Lions injuries. Everybody's saying, the Vikings, they got a clear path. Lions are beat up. They should go into that building and beat them. The Lions still have the best offense in the NFL, and it will be a major, major challenge for Brian Flores and this defense to slow down this Lions offense. And where does it start with them? I just said it starts with the offensive line, but it also starts with the running back who they're giving the ball to, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, and this may be a hot take to some, I think he's the best running back in the National Football League. Saquon Barkley's been fantastic. Derrick Henry's been fantastic. But I think Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks like Barry Sanders out there on the football field. He glides. He's elusive. He really does it all at the running back position. And he's having a great year, man. I mean, 16 touchdowns, 5.6 yards per clip. He has been truly phenomenal. But the negative of the Lions is their defense. Now, for some shocking reason. They're still 8th in points per game, only giving up 20.8 points per game, rush yards per game. They're the 3rd best in the league, but you can beat them throughout the air. They're giving up 250.4 pass yards per game, which is 31st in the National Football League, and they actually do have the league's best 3rd down defense in the whole league. Now, the Lions defense, why have they taken a step back? It has been because of their injuries they have on that side of the field. You got guys like Aiden Hutchinson. He's out for the year with a knee injury. Carlton Davis, the second, he's out with a jaw. Alex Anzalone, forearm injury. Aleem McNeil and Malcolm Rodriguez, Roddy, he's out for the year. If you had to kind of power rank their 5 best defensive players besides Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, it's probably these 5 guys. So they got a bunch of 2nd and 3rd stringers in there, but still, they fly around the football field. They're ultra aggressive. Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, he's very similar to Flores, where he's going to almost blitz a little too much. But I think that's the way the Lions need to play considering all the injuries they had. But I'll dive into my keys to victory here in a second. But first off, you guys just got to predict the score for me. Vikings Lions, a massive, massive game for the NFC North and just the entire NFC. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Predict the score, Vikings versus Lions. Now, we'll dive into my 5 keys here in a second, but first, got to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, if you guys download the PrizePicks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, if you guys are trying to make a Timberwolves, Wild, or even a Vikings game more interesting, PrizePicks is the best way to do so because even if the game is a blowout, you guys can follow your lineup all game long. I do it for almost every single game I'm watching. Just put a couple bucks into your account and see if you guys can win some serious cash. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, run your game. Start off with the number 1 key to victory every single week, and that is get Justin Jefferson the damn football. We're going to call this the 18 effect, and, I probably should have just put this as Justin Jefferson's got to dominate because I think he has a chance to have a historic performance. I think he will go down as the greatest wide receiver of all time, and you need to have some statement games if you want to do so, and what a better statement game to have for the number 1 seed in the entire NFC. The Lions don't have a single player in that secondary who can stay with them one-on-one. Frankly, I don't think they have 2 guys who can guard him 2-on-1. So Kevin O'Connell, Sam Darnold, get the best player on the field of football over and over again, and we should be celebrating a 10th straight victory Monday here on the channel. Now, number 2 for me, this is going to be a heavyweight battle. It's going to be Brian Flores versus Ben Johnson. Both these guys are up for head coaching jobs this offseason, and really, the sauce of what Brian Flores likes to do, it kind of gets negated with what Ben Johnson likes to do. Because how do you beat a Brian Flores defense? You got to run the football. And with Ben Johnson, what does he love to do? It's run the football. And right now the Vikings are ranked out as the 2nd best rush defense in the National Football League, only giving up 88.1 yards per game. And they were very good last week against the Green Bay Packers. But I think, the Packers were still successful in the first half running the football. But they kind of got away from it. They got down in that game pretty quickly, so if they were able to stay to it, I'm still not fully convinced that the Vikings can head into Detroit and take away that run game. But, if you guys look it up, look at the numbers of Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. I mean, Ben Johnson has owned Flores, and just call a spade, call it like it is. And I think Flores and this group will take it personally because no doubt, all the love, all these big-time media heads, all they're talking about today is just the Lions offense, how good it is. And I think it's a great offense, but I'm sure that's bulletin board material for those guys. I'm sure Flores understands this huge matchup between the two. And let's just say these two are duking out for a head coaching job like the Chicago Bears. Maybe this game will, be that deciding factor. But number 3 for me, offensive explosion. And, kind of speaks into what I was just saying about the Lions having the best offense in the league, in my opinion. I think the Vikings are going to have to put up a ton of points. And, they've been a very good offense this year. And the thing I love the most is that they have gotten better week after week after week. And I think their best performance was this past week against the Green Bay Packers, which is great news because it shows me that they are peaking at the right time. But I think the Vikings offense, you're going to have to be ultra aggressive offensively to win this game. I'm talking about you're going for it on 4th and 6 situations. If you have the ball on your side or on the Lions side of the field, you got to be aggressive. You got to go for it on 4th downs. And also considering Will Reichard has missed 6 out of his last 13 field goals attempts, I would rather put the game in Sam Darnold's right arm and Justin Jefferson's 2 hands instead of banking on the kicker having some big-time kicks. So be aggressive, stay ahead of the sticks, because you got to maintain pace with the best offense in the National Football League. And speaking about that best offense, you got to slow down Gibbs. It's simple here. You take away the run, you got a really good chance to win this football game. And, if we're talking about, headlines that could come out on Monday, the Lions will beat the Vikings if Jahmyr Gibbs kills him. I don't think Jared Goff, who is a great, great quarterback in the National Football League, but if he doesn't have that run game, if he doesn't have that play action, I think this Vikings defense should be set up for success. So this week, I'm sure they're game planning for it. They're going to be selling out on that run, but Ben Johnson's going to have a couple of wrinkles to kind of hopefully mask some of that, but wait and see how that plays out. And then finally, I've had sense of urgency for the past 5 weeks because I think the Vikings have been in playoff mode for the last 5 weeks, and it all comes down to this. And I can't undervalue how big of a game this is because it is the difference between potentially having 3 straight road playoff games or potentially just having 2 home playoff games to get to New Orleans and play in that Super Bowl. So those are my 5 keys to victory for the Vikings this weekend, but we'll close it off with this. Share this with us. What has been your favorite memory so far this season? For me, didn't really have an answer prepared. I'm going to probably go Sam Darnold stepping up in the pocket, 24-20 against the Seattle Seahawks, and him hitting Jefferson down the left sideline. That's what I'll probably go with, but you guys let me know down below. All right, my score prediction. I think Brian Flores and this defense is going to show up this Sunday. I got the Vikings winning 34-20. I think it's going to be a statement win, and you're going to go into their building. You're going to silence that crowd, and I think you're going to get a big-time victory this Sunday night. And lock up that number 1 seed in the NFC. But also, I'm on Twitter. Give me a follow over there at Pat Siepman, the Twitter handle. See you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.